Hello peeps, welcome to the intro to Kick the Shit Out of Social Anxiety. Now, this is the intro to my book, so if you haven't read the book, you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about. So, my book is about kicking the shit out of social anxiety. And what is the shit? Because that's a pretty controversial title, right? And it needs to be, because the shit, and I'm going to say that quite a lot, is the very thing that is keeping you from getting rid of social anxiety. Getting rid of all anxieties, in all honesty, but social anxiety was my thing. So again, in the book, I talk a lot about how, I was a wreck. I mean, people thought I was almost autistic because I couldn't string a sentence together. And it took me decades it sort of got me on a rampage, on a mission to find out how to fix me. And what I found out through decades was that I didn't need fixing. Now, if you'd have said that to me 10, 20 years ago, I'd have said, are you crazy? Have you seen me? You're telling me I don't need fixing? Are you crazy? But no, I didn't. It was all a matter of understanding what the shit is. So I'm going to go through it very quickly because this is just a quick intro. I'm going to get into just a very simple exercise, okay? But the analogy that I'm using here, it comes from one of my mentors, and I highly recommend you look into this guy. It's Michael Neal. And he wrote a book called Inside Out Understanding. Now, his analogy actually came years and years ago when I was learning NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And he put this analogy up, and I thought it was nice, and it made a lot of sense. Now, when I relate it to what I understand now, it makes all the difference. So let me tell you very quickly what it is. So, you've probably heard, many people have said this, that we're a diamond in the rough. That guy's a diamond in the rough, that sort of thing. It's just a common term, right? So, the diamond is who we truly are. So let me write that down. Now, forgive me, I'm not the best at artistic work, but, and I'll try and get out of the way eventually. All right, so here's, my blue isn't working very well, but hey. There we go. So that's my very basic diamond, right? And imagine it's colored in, it's beautiful blue diamond. That's who we are at our core. So if we are this diamond, we're perfectly us. We're not perfect, we're all different shapes and sizes, got different talents and different strengths, different weaknesses, right? But we're not broken, we're just us, we're just a diamond. The diamond metaphorically cannot be broken, cannot be destroyed, cannot be tarnished in any way. It is who it is. And diamonds at their original state come in all different shapes and sizes, right? So that's who we are at our core. Now I'm going through this very quickly, and I'll gradually build up on this idea, this analogy. But think of the diamond at this moment as you being perfectly you. So what's the problem? Why are we not living in heaven because we're all diamonds? Because, wait for it, we have a whole lot of shit all the way around our diamond. Now, what is this stuff? This stuff is our limiting beliefs. Destroyable, it's not a very good word, but hey, our values, right? Our values can work for us, they can work against us. It's our beliefs predominantly, our doubts, our fears, our thoughts of ourselves. But here's the killer about this, is because of this strong belief system that we've created, and we've created this at a very, very young age, like 0 to 7. Well, like I'm doing this because you imagine us as this funnel of information. We're just taking in information, 0 to 7, all this information, and trying to make sense of it, trying to put it together, right? Connections. So imagine your brain is like making these neuro connections the whole time and making these belief systems. Unfortunately, almost all of them, in fact, are negative because they're trying to keep us safe, right? That's our normal behavior, is to keep ourselves safe. Now, notice I said normal because it's not natural. Normal in the sense that it's our safety mechanism. We want to make sure that we're, in control of the outside world, which, by the way, as you know, is impossible. So we create these belief systems, these doubts, these fears, these things. And again, I'll go into more detail with this. I'm just moving through this very quickly. This is this stuff, right? And like I say, we believe this is us. Now, some of us have a lot of this stuff, right? Some of us have just a small amount. But, for the most part, I mean, let's face it, most of us could fertilize a plantation with the amount that we've got. I know it was for me anyway. This is what we believe we are. Now, I know this is not consciously. Consciously, you'll say, hey, who are you talking to? How the hell do you know? Well, listen, if you suffer from social or any anxiety, you're buying into this shit. That's why I know. So if you are buying into it, you're at some level buying into this. I just said buying into it, but you know what I mean. If you're anxious, you're going to be buying into this, right? So what do? Well, we can't have our shit coming out all over the place, right? We don't want people to see our stuff. And we believe that this is us. We don't want people to see it. So we create paint. We paint over our crap, basically. We paint over it so that people won't see it. And what's the paint? It's building our bodies, right? Building our, plastic surgery and stuff like that to make us look younger, all sorts of stuff that we do. Now, again, it's not wrong. And this is what I put in the book. It's not necessarily wrong. We can have hobbies, we can have things, we can do things, we can have nice cars, nice houses, we can be straight A students, we can be all these things when it's cool if we have these things. But when we're trying to cover up who we think we are, then it becomes a problem. So this is the basis of the book. When we can realize what the heck is going on, that we're buying into this, and we can kick that stuff out. Imagine we kick this out. What happens is your diamond begins to shine. And when your diamond shines, this stuff, most of it will fall away because you don't need it anymore. And some of it you might keep because, it's cool. It's a part of you, it's a part of your hobbies and your personality. And that's fine because that's just something you bring to the world. So this is where we're going with this. And this is a simple intro of what's going on and what the book is about, how we can break free of this social or any anxiety in our lives. So let me leave you with this, a simple exercise, okay? So 2 things we're going to do. So the first one is to put the tongue to the roof of the mouth. So when we put the tongue to the roof of the mouth, first of all, it creates like an energy. It's almost like plugging yourself into the socket. You create the energy meridians through the body. It creates like a circuit, But second of all, without realizing, we got a lot of chatter going on. Would you agree? We got a lot of chatter. And what happens is, without realizing, now very, very minutely, it's not like your tongue's going crazy, but your tongue tends to move with the thoughts that you're having, so that the auditory that's going on in your mind, you tend to speak it without realizing. And so when you put the tongue to the roof of the mouth, creates the energy, which is great, but it also slightly stops the chatter. And I say slightly, it's not going to stop it altogether. You know, it's not a magic cure or anything, but it does slow it down, and it does, you know, take a lot of it away. And the more you do it, actually, it gets better and better. So tongue to the roof of the mouth, right? And then breathe in through the nose. And then breathe out through the nose. And then just do that for the rest of your life. Become a nose breather. And the reason is because we have a sympathetic, which is your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, you know, and in my case, fight, flight, or freeze. And that's what I used to do. I used to freeze in a social event. You know, all your filing cabinets shut down in your brain. You get into what's called a stupid state, as Tony Robbins always said, a stupid state. And you really do. I mean, you literally, I'm not joking, your IQ lowers when you're in this sympathetic nervous system, when you're in this, you know, fight or flight or freeze state. So your filing cabinets shut down, and you'll be lucky if you can remember your own name. That's what used to happen to me. People would go, "Hi, I'm Dave," or whatever, and I'd go, "Hi, Dave. Hi." I know I've got a name, but you know, it used to feel that way. And outwardly, they probably didn't realize, because I'd put on a good persona, you know, the paint. I would paint a good persona, but internally, I was dying. Can you relate? And that was my freeze thing. So when we nose breathe, what happens is we take ourselves down into the parasympathetic. And this is where we want to live, in the parasympathetic. The fight or flight is an emergency response. It should pretty much never be activated. I mean, only in emergencies, right? Not on a continuous basis. And this is why we end up, you know, in an anxious state. So the more we can get into that parasympathetic, which they say is another term for it, is rest and digest. So it's your digestive system. So like when you eat, you feel like you relax a little bit. It's like, whoa, after eating a pizza or something, you feel relaxed, right? Or more relaxed at least. Rest and digest. This is your relaxation response. The more you can live in that, which is where we're going with this, the more you can live in that, hear me out here, your anxious state cannot live in that state. It cannot exist. So how important do you think that is, right? It cannot exist. So that's where we're going with this. So the more we can kick the shit out of that socially anxious state, that belief that who we are, that I'm a shy person, or I'm an anxious person, or I can't cope with this, or all these things that go on in our minds, the more we can kick that out, it cannot exist anymore. The socially anxious state, any anxious state in all honesty, cannot exist. So, tongue to the roof of the mouth, breathe in and out through your nose. You know what's a great thing to get? Now, I don't use them anymore. I probably should actually. I've got a few and I might start using them again. But I tend to be a nose breather now. But there's this tape. Now, if the tape freaks you out, obviously don't do that, because that defeats the object. You get getting more anxious. But if you can, get this tape, and what you do is you put the tape over here, and what happens is it teaches you to nose breathe. So especially at night, it's phenomenal. You'll actually find you might wake up a couple of times initially just getting used to it, but it will remind you of, you'll have no choice if it's over here, you will start nose breathing. This is a great start, and we're going to do incremental changes as we go. Incremental is the key. I tried the deep end stuff, and all I did was metaphorically drown. The same with my clients. I find that for most people does not work. We're going to do it incrementally so that you're comfortably uncomfortable. And what we will find is that this sticks permanently. So there you go, nice simple intro. This went a little bit longer. The rest will be a touch shorter on each video. But just do that simple little exercise to get us started, get us into that rest and digest system. Okay, I'll see you soon. Take care.